What's going on, everybody? Appreciate you guys tuning into yet another Tastemakers podcast, where we talk about, CHH culture as well as the big culture at large, hip hop culture, black culture. Of course, to my left here is T Bells. Of course, diagonal is light skin Corey, which I guess I've actually settled into the name now. And right below me is your girl Brina. I'm Quote. I guess I'll be the kind of host here, as we all kind of do, and go back and forth on these topics here. Let's do what we do. Let's drive right into the topics, y'all. Make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to share out the feed and different things of that nature. Let people know what we got going on right here at the Tastemakers Pods. First topic, this past weekend, a staple in the Christian hip-hop community has been that of Flava Fest. Before we get into Flava Fest, as y'all hear me sniffling, your boy's a little under the weather. And I think we've all kind of had our things. I'll start this off with, hey, how the Tastemakers doing? Y'all doing all right? Everybody all right?
I'm good. I'm so good now. I was not good a few days ago.
Okay.
So your man C. Goss is always good and always in the building. You heard me.
Okay.
And I'm good too.
You good, Bree, but you ain't got
you dark
no
girl
going on.
Listen, I'm sitting right, but there's so much light in here. It's this camera. I gotta get this camera. Yeah, I got a solution for it. I just haven't downloaded that app yet.
Okay.
We getting there.
Well, I came back from Florida, which was hot. Came back to VA, which was a little chilly, and decided not to properly be covered at night, and therefore I'm sick. But we are getting through it, sniffling just a little bit, so just so y'all know what's going on. But I had to check on the crew. I had to see how everybody's doing. Everybody all right with these headaches and these colds, and of course, as Seagull said, he is fine at all times. Is that right?
Get you a COVID test?
I didn't, because I know what got me sick. I know exactly what got me sick. I know when it was happening. I knew it was going to happen before it happened. It's like, dang, this is not going to work. When you wake up and you really can't move, and it's like, man, I just need them covers. But my body just want to go right back to sleep. That's what happened. That's exactly what happened.
You still should get a test.
If it lasts for another 24, 48, I might go just do a courtesy test just to see.
You was in Florida.
I know. Was in Florida. What's funny though is you could tell all the people that were from Florida and all the people that weren't from Florida.
Because they ain't had no mask on.
Because they ain't had no mask on.
I was like, where the mask at?
Yeah, they ain't have no mask on. Now listen, in Virginia, I don't wear a mask a lot. But in Florida, I did not take my mask off. We ain't playing them games. Not in Florida.
No.
Lord Jesus. We is not playing them games in Florida. But anyway, speaking of Florida, let's go ahead and get into the topic here. That of Flava Fest, of course, crossover church. Pastor Tommy, also known as Urban D, has been doing Flava Fest for many years. I want to say it's been about 20 years now that they have been doing Flava Fest in Florida. And there's some rumors going on that they might be alternating it between Florida and Atlanta going forward. So that might be a little interesting. Just a heads up on that, Trish. But yep, since you're right there in the ATL. But yeah, Flava Fest was good. It was a good time. Some great performances, of course. Any kinds of events like that are normally like a homecoming event where you get to see people you haven't seen in years. You know what I mean? And it's always a good time to do that. One of the things that I really respect about Flava Fest is not only do you have the many, many different workshops, but they had some really good quality workshops going on. But you also have the serve the community portion of it, where they really make the participants go out into the community and serve. So I happen to be in a particular sect with Urban D, where we was going and knocking on doors, delivering groceries, just groceries here, whatever. They had done this thing also where they were just going to the laundromat and was just paying for everybody's laundry, you know what I mean? And I think there was one more that they were doing as well, but it felt good to do that, to serve the community. I honestly have not done that kind of thing in probably about a good decade. And it felt good to do that, to get back to the reasons why we kind of do what we do in a sense, to serve, especially people who might be considered less fortunate or whatever the case may be. But yeah, so that was good. That was good part of it. A lot of artists, KB tore the house down. AI the Anomaly tore the house down. Who else? Stephen Malcolm tore the house down. It was ridiculous. A lot of great shows. Your boy Zonti tore the house down. Brian Trejo tore the house down. It was a lot of good performances, some in which surprised me at how good of performances they were. A lot of good workshops. Dr. Eric Mason was down there. Ruslan was in the building as well. Ruslan's on some different stuff, guys. Ruslan is just, I mean, he's really, no, he's really on it right now. I mean that in all the respect that he's really hitting everything on the nail right now. And I can't do nothing but salute. But many different, from branding to music to releases, just so much going on at Flava Fest. Really good time. I got some other stuff I might go into with it as well, but before I do that, did y'all have any particular thoughts?
So
y'all heard?
So like, you know how it typically is going to conferences and things like that. I know I've been to Frequency Conference, I've been to Holy Hip Hop Awards, haven't done Legacy yet. But it's kind of like some people, hang out in the hallway. Some people are in the conferences. Some people are just there for the festivities of it all. Were people participating, or was it something like, oh, it's cool, it's Florida, it's nice outside, let's just hang out? Or was it like, nah, we in these classes?
What you mean participating? Let me make sure I'm following.
Like, were they in the workshops when Mason was teaching? Were they in the workshop that, like, not Zonti, that Ruslan?
Now, when you say people, are you talking about artists? Or are you talking about registrants?
The registrants.
Yeah, registrants was in these joints, and most of the artists weren't too, except for like your top tier artists. They weren't. They were in the green room somewhere, most likely. Yeah. But no, people were. It was all very practical. People were in there together, talking, going to stuff. Track Stars, shouts out to Track Stars. They did a nice joint as well. It was cool. Speaking of which, just everybody knows, of course, on October 30th is the show on that Saturday. We're supposed to be showing up on the Track Stars, so we'll have a little Tastemakers Track Stars mashup going on. So that'll be kind of dope as well. Hope to see all you guys there as well. But yeah, did I answer your question?
Yeah, for sure. Was the concert attended well?
Yeah, I think so. I couldn't get a good count on the number, but I'd say 3 to 4, 3 to 5. You know what I mean? It's a domination type crowd.
Got you. Yeah. And so, like, all the artists performed one day. They just performed, or was it over a span of days?
So it was 2 days. Yeah. So they do workshop, concert.
Got you. Okay.
And so that's kind of how they do it.
Dope.
But yeah. So it was a good time. A lot of interaction. A lot of artists. It was really great to see K Drama. I hadn't seen Drama in a minute.
So
good to see K Drama. And then I looked beside Drama and I saw Flame. And I was like, what the heck, Marcus? I was like, I ain't seen Flame in a minute. You know what I mean? So it was good to see that. You know what I mean? It's just like a family reunion. Like I said, a lot of people, might come up to me like, yo, quote, you remember me? Quote, you remember when you interviewed me here? Quote, whatever the case may be. So that was cool too. Bree, you had any questions, concerns, FlavaFest thoughts?
Yeah. So I was wondering, did they do it last year, or was it virtual, or did they have the conference at all? Or
as I understand, it was virtual last year.
It was virtual.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's actually the 21st year, but cats weren't really counting last year, so they're just saying kind of 20. Right. But 2020 was virtual. They did have a virtual show.
Okay.
Yep.
Was that a combination this year also, or was it just strictly in person?
No, you're absolutely right. It was a combination, and they had good numbers that were in the building. So I'm not sure what the numbers look like virtually, but it was a combination of virtual and then I think the registration cost is like $100, $125, $150, somewhere between $100 and $150. So they do pretty good with the registration as far as people coming from all over the country flying into Florida for that event. Trish?
Yes. So sorry.
No.
I was gonna ask. I don't know what y'all were talking about, but I heard
You heard
that there was a $150 charge for artists to participate. Is that how it works? Do you know how it works?
So, do I know how it works, or do you know how it works?
That's a lot of money. I mean, that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. Now, of course,
$150 ain't a lot of money
for a new artist coming up just to perform. Wait, hold on. I'm sorry. What? You're right. $150 alone is not a lot of money, but $150 to maybe perform.
Oh no, that's
not guaranteed.
Oh, they tripping. No,
not guaranteed.
That's a lot of money.
Is that true, quote? Did that happen?
As I understand it, as certain people have let us know.
Wait, hold on. So Cats is saying, yo, I'm gonna give you this $150, and I may not perform, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
like people are okay with that.
With FlavaFest, not only is it the 150, but you got to come hard. Like you got to come with the 150, the track. I want to say you got to come with references, all kinds of stuff like that.
Yeah,
yeah. The
from your pastor,
from a pastor and different things of that nature. Mm-hmm.
Wait, so how do they decide who performs and who doesn't?
I mean, I know how I would do it. I don't know exactly how they do it, but I figured I'd probably look and see if I recognize the name first and foremost. Second of all, I'd probably listen to the music, see what music I'm just enjoying the most that I would love to see on the stage. Then I would check the references and see if the references added up.
Oh, so people, so people who are notable are still paying this 150 is what you're telling me.
There are some people that you know their name that they still pay the 150. KB is not one of those people. Obviously, KB is most likely being paid amongst other names. You know what I mean? But there are some people that, maybe your C-listers, whatever the case may be, that you know their name, and yes, they still are paying the 150.
Yo, we doing it wrong at Domination, quote. We gotta start knocking these local artists in the head. We gotta start locking these B-list, C-list artists in the head. If Urban D's out here getting 150 and catching it performing and they paying it, what are we doing over here?
Hey. We work with local artists. We've been able to do some things on that side too.
Nah, but I'm saying if you got a C-list artist that people know regionally and they're still paying to get on a show, we doing something wrong. Shout out to Urban D. Shout out to Urban D.
They've also they've got that 20-year, 20-year situation to that as well.
That's true.
They've been doing it a lot longer than we have and whatnot, consistently as well. All that matters. Hey, I'm not going to knock it. People pay a lot more for conferences and different things of that nature. So
that's a good point.
I'm not going to knock it right off.
I mean, I've been to a lot of conferences, Christian conferences, and I've been to Legacy, been to Frequency. I mean, of course, Frequency was where my home church was at Epiphany. So, but it's. I think that in general, I think that you need to, even if you've been doing something a certain type of way for a long period of time, I think it's good to really like scope out the culture and kind of see like what is like going on and kind of, maybe adjust the way you do things accordingly. That's just, I shout out to Flava Fest and all of them that run that. They've been doing it successfully for a number of years. So I definitely respect them in that manner. But in terms of like that, I think that $150 thing is very steep, especially if I don't know if I'm going to be on the thing,
From a non-guaranteed standpoint.
Mm-hmm. Right. It's not a guarantee. So I don't know. That's
now, quote, did it feel like, because Holy Hip Hop Awards is no more, Rap Fest is no more, and Flava Fest was part of that old era of Christian hip hop when it comes to conferences. Did it feel like they were? Did it feel like
that used to be the trifecta? That used to be the trifecta. Mm-hmm. You go up to New York for Rap Fest. You go up to
sure.
You go down to Atlanta for Holy Hip Hop, and then you go to Florida for Flava Fest. And every once in a while, Sister D would do Sound the Alarm in Baltimore. Y'all remember that?
Oh my God!
But did it feel like? But did it feel like they were hanging on, and it's like, yo, this about to be out of here in a couple of years, or did it feel like they were still thriving?
I feel like they were still thriving, but I also, like I said, I'm hearing rumblings that they're about to switch it up a little bit.
Because of that?
Scott-free, I don't know if it's because of it, because it seemed like it was still thriving, to be honest with you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Scott-free, of course, now runs Crossover Church in Atlanta.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to start going back and forth between Atlanta and Florida every year with Flava Fest, I believe is what's going to happen. A little birdie kind of let me know that as I was talking to him, and that's kind of dope. I miss Atlanta. So,
did you tell anybody about Domination?
Of course, I told people about Domination.
Nice.
Not only did I tell people about Domination, but
whoa.
Did you tell the people?
Bruh, somebody just came in this office who looks amazing. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Hey, single man, I ain't gonna knock you. I ain't gonna knock you, single man. I ain't gonna knock you. But I need you to focus though, bro.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But Domination is actually is known. That's the best I could tell you, Goss.
Oh, really?
Domination is known. From Pastor Tommy to everybody. They all know who Domination was.
Really?
Everybody knows what Domination is.
That's what's up.
So that's been that was kind of cool to see as we talked about it or whatever the case may be. That was kind of an interesting thing that kind of led to some other stuff. I think I sent y'all to the group chat. I've got to refocus on why I do this. I think I sent that to y'all because I was kind of having I had a break, not a break. What's the word? I don't know if it was some sort of imposter syndrome or what it might have been. But I had a moment myself just because I'm usually more prepared for events like that. You got to think, I've been in radio for many, many years from an FM situation. And then I stopped doing the podcast, Cold Christ Radio, about 3 years ago. And so I'm used to showing up to events like that with media credentials.
Yeah.
And cats know me for that. And don't get me wrong, there was still a lot of cats that came up to me, yo, quote, remember when, yada, 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 boom, boom, boom. But there was as the genre has changed, as it's gotten younger and whatever the case may be, there were some moments when I felt like, man, some of this is feeling like it's passing me by. Like, am I too old for this now? Like, whatever. But I'm thinking back now to it, I just won't prepare the way I normally am prepared for events like that. Because like I said, normally I've got credentials. Even next year, me and Tommy were talking about some things with XRP Record Pool. They had a DJ competition where they really need help on that. And that's right up our alley. That's what we do. So it's another business I run. So anyway, I had a moment like that too. I was like, man, why do I still do this? What is the true purpose of this? Who is this really serving? Does this all just serve quote? Does this serve God in any capacity? Like, why? You know what I mean? And so there were different thoughts and different things that kind of went on with those mindsets as well as I had. Just because I haven't been in the game as much, you know what I mean? I haven't been in the game. I've shifted to total background. And even speaking of Domination, like, we know you're the face of Domination. You know what I mean? So everybody doesn't always know that I'm there, that me and you partner on Domination.
Well, until the day of, and quote me
when I'm running everything. when I'm running everything, but
and I don't want to do nothing. I don't want to run nothing.
But no, Domination has been something that me and Goss have strategized on, and it has worked for years. But when it comes to being the face of Domination, I take a back seat. I let Goss do that. He does that, and he does that well. So it's funny sometimes we talking about people about Domination, and they don't really know that I run it, you know what I mean, or that we run it together. They just might even know you on it or whatever the case may be. So that's kind of interesting as well. And then there's some people that don't know. It's weird because then there's some people that are like, quote, I thought that was just your thing. I'm like, no, me and Corey partner on that. But yeah, so all of that was a little interesting. Just, Flava Fest as a whole, it was a good experience. Good to see cats I ain't seen in years. Seeing all kinds of different things. Shouts out to all the media heads. And I really, that's, and we've talked about this before, I want to see a shift of focus from the artists to the behind the scene people. If Christian hip hop is really going to do what it needs to do, eventually there has to be a season where the promoters, the managers, the booking agents, the, different, the media, yada, 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 while the attention shifts to some of them and not just the artists, because the artists have been catered to for so very long. But yeah, that's all I really got. You got anything else on Flava Fest?
Sound like it was dope. I was gonna go, but I had a wedding and I couldn't risk being late for my wedding, so couldn't do it. But sound like it was dope. I'll be there next year in all my glory and all my splendor.
If it ends up coming to Atlanta, I might consider going. I don't know. We'll see.
Trish, you gotta come with Domination. Bree, you too.
Oh, I'm trying to do Domination now.
Definitely.
We gonna fly y'all out. Hey. Quote that. Who's flying who out?
If we can flew out, then
right.
I can't resist.
Like, I'm not even gonna hold you. After we told Nice that we was gonna fly him out, we second guessed it like 3 days later. It was like, hold on, maybe we shouldn't have told Nice we should have flown him out.
Maybe we shouldn't spend all this money flying this guy from across the country. With the cross the country tickets.
Right,
but funny. Even hanging out with Nice and hanging out with a lot of the track stars and different things like that. It was a good time with the media cats. Shouts out to my guy C. Micah, some of the artists that are now coming in over onto the media side as well. It's very interesting and just really kind of prepping them like, look, ain't much glory over here. You know what I mean? Like, it's a thankless job over here. You know what I'm saying? We do what we can, but it's a thankless job over here. Everybody loves the artist. Everybody adorns the artist. Nobody really cares that much about the media cats and whatnot as much. So, so that's what it is. But yeah, so that's Flava Fest. Y'all good on Flava Fest?
Yeah, we good.
Yeah.
Y'all good on the Festa flavor?
So good.
So good. Trish. To the point where she said, if it's in Atlanta, I might.
I'll be in 100. I got 4 kids and a husband, business, all that. It'd be a lot going on. So it's got to be worth, for me, it's got to be worth my while. You know what I mean?
Domination is worth it.
Oh, I know. I have no second guesses about it. Okay? You ain't even got to explain. Hey, y'all my people, so.
So this we gotta start hammering away with Domination for next year, that's for sure. But let's go ahead and get into this next topic. A lot of big things happened over the last week, including I guess just cancel culture at large. It's its own thing. It's its own organism, and
it's so whack.
It is whack. At the same time, sometimes I think maybe we should change the name of it, and I think Charlemagne even actually says that. He doesn't call it cancel culture, he calls it accountability culture, which, might be a better name for it to an extent, you know what I mean, or whatever the case may be. But yeah, I think first and foremost, what we got first? Dave, is that who we're looking at first? Yeah. Let's talk about Dave Chappelle releases this his last Netflix joint, and Dave is just like, look, okay, so this is the last of my Netflix deals, and you know how I did the Chappelle show and then I did one of these numbers? Yeah, this is probably gonna happen again. I'm probably gonna disappear. But before I do that, let me get these jokes off and let me get everybody.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody did not get touched in this Dave Chappelle joint. I don't think anybody didn't get touched, but just in overall, of course, Dave Chappelle, he came very, very, very hard at everybody. And Goss, what did you think about the closer?
Fam, Dave Chappelle is such a genius. Like, he is a genius.
Absolutely.
Like, the way, like, his comedy specials, they're comedy specials because he's funny, but they're so informative. And they're so like, I didn't think about it like that. Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Mm-hmm. Man, that's funny, but that's really real. So the way that he attacked everybody, and I wouldn't say attack, the way that he made jokes about everybody, just like you said, nobody was safe. But I thought it was so great, the way and how he was saying, if y'all think I'm calling out the LGBTQ community, y'all are missing the point. Right. Like, y'all are missing what's going on. Like I could see I couldn't understand why they would be so mad, why they're so mad, because he wasn't calling them out. He even specifically said, I'm only talking to white people. Like, those are the only people that I've consistently have called out. And like, they should be mad at me, but they love me. They keep buying my tickets. They keep buying, my DVDs and things like that. And I guess, so I always try to put myself in different perspectives and people's different shoes. And I'm thinking, okay, if this was a white comedian doing what Dave is doing to the transgender community, a white guy doing this to the black community, would we be upset? Right? Would we feel some kind of way? And I think we would, but also I think that we have to understand they would be punching down almost. And with the whole Dave Chappelle thing, he's trying to say, I'm not punching y'all at all. And like, he explained what he was doing. And then he even brought in unfortunately, the young lady who lost her life, and she was a transgender woman. But he was like, hey, this, like, I'm doing this like to help you guys out, like not necessarily to make fun of you or jokes or anything like that. But I think because he's a comedian and he has, I guess, quote unquote history of being misunderstood, then that's how they took it. So me personally, I thought it was hilarious, but I'm not transgender. I'm not part of the LGBTQ community. I have not spoken to any people part of that community as far as how they thought about it or felt about it. But me personally, I thought it was hilarious. But of course, I would think that because I'm a straight black guy. And Dave Chappelle is defending me, and he's talking about things that are funny to the black community, right? So, like I said, personally, I thought it was hilarious. And I think he also went out his way to say what he wasn't saying and what he wasn't talking about. But people are going to hear what they want to hear at the end of the day anyway. So people are ready to be offended.
That's very, very true. We live in a culture, in a society where people are ready to take offense at all times. I believe you literally have to take offense, and people are so ready to do that at all times. I definitely believe that. Brina, what you thought about it?
I mean, I thought it was hilarious too, and that's just his brand of comedy. Like, that's just how he is. I mean, he's clever, in the way that he phrases things. I could see how those parties were offended. Like, I could see how, but it didn't seem like to me like that was his intention. It was just, that was his set. Like, these were the jokes that he were telling. Like, I mean, that's just what it was. I mean, that's how I took it.
I think he was intending to do it, though. I think he was intending to do it.
You think he was?
Yes.
Oh, there was a whole lot of intentionality around it in general. He very surgically dissected what he was doing.
Yeah.
For sure.
He absolutely 100%.
I don't think he meant it like as an attack, though. Like, that's what I'm saying.
No.
Like the way people were taking it, like, let's cancel him, because no, I didn't think he meant it as an attack.
I don't think it was an attack by the.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Actually, I look at it more as a conversation starter. Trish, what you thought about it?
Right.
I agree with what everybody said. I think that's the first thing when my husband and I were watching it. We were like, yo, this dude is a genius. Like you were saying, Corey, like, it's his delivery. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's so funny, but like, you're like, yo, that's so like on point. What he's saying, like, he's making excellent points here, even though it's like very crass, very like, oh my gosh, what did he just say? Like
the space Jews joke. Oh my gosh,
the beet Jews. I was like,
juice. Oh my god!
I said,
impossible. Woo!
That was so. It was so many funny parts, but I think that it's just interesting, like the effects, because what really caught me off guard was the creator of what's it called? Oh gosh. Dear White People. The creator of Dear White People.
Was it a creator or was she a showrunner?
The creator.
Oh.
This was they said she was the main person who created Dear White People. A transgender woman, white, she literally was proving his point. Literally was proving his point by the things that she was saying about the whole thing. And I felt like it just felt funny to me that she was offended. I don't know. I don't understand. I'm confused. And what are you offended by exactly? I don't think they even know exactly what they're offended by.
Cats be offended and didn't even watch it. Cats be
offended. Like for me, it's his setups. His setups to his jokes be just like the funniest part. Cause so when he was like, I'm coming to you on behalf of the baby. He said LGBTQ.
He said, please do not abort the baby.
Please do not abort the baby.
I said, what? This nigga's a fool.
Like he's a lawyer. Like I'm coming to you guys on behalf of the baby.
Listen. So what's funny is I'm laughing now thinking back on it, but I kept hearing y'all say how hilarious it was. And I didn't laugh a lot while watching it.
Right.
And it wasn't because I didn't think it was funny. It was just because he was taking me and I was just going with it. And I'm thinking about now I'm laughing at some of the stuff that was said. Like, oh my God, that joke was really funny.
Right.
And I probably did chuckle a few times during it, but it's just the art. Oh my God.
Yeah.
The artistry to make certain points to get you to see, why things look this or the different analogies and different things that take place. So really, really crazy. And then even when he ended, he was like, at the end of the day, all I'm trying to get y'all to do is to stop punching down on my people. And that's the conversation that is starting to be had a lot more. And it's the intersectionality of the LGBTQ community and the Black community. Yeah. And a lot of times it is very true that the Black community looks at that community and says, dang, how y'all be pulling off the stuff y'all be pulling? Like, they could just get us and it don't matter, but they touch y'all and it's a wrap. You know what I mean? Like, it's a wrap. Like, I even think about Kevin Spacey and, Kevin Spacey and House of Cards and everything like that, and how it come to find out that how long ago was it? I think it might have been like 20 years ago.
Yeah, it was like at least 20 years ago when
20 years ago, he was actually most likely inappropriately touching up on my guy. I'm a big Rent head, and I can't think of his name right off. But he plays in Rent. He plays the main storyteller of Rent, the camera guy. Really, this is my play. I love Rent, my musical, and I can't think of the names right off. But anyway, he ended up touching up on him, and when that news came to surface 20 years later, they straight canceled him off Full House of Cards. And so it was just very interesting just how the LGBTQ community, they have more power than us, and so we can't necessarily punch down on them. But they can punch down on us, you know what I mean? And then I look at the double minority, those who are Black or minorities inside of that community, and I wonder about what they go through and what they see. And but I mean, David said it like you get to change up. Like, you could be liberal, LGBTQ, yada yada, boom boom boom, and then you can pick up and call 911, and you ain't got to worry about it. You can blend in. You can do that. You can so it's just so many great points. Thank you so much, Anthony Rapp. Is the name of the character. I mean, of the actual actor. The character name is Mark. Why did it take me so long to get that? But anyway, thank you so much. I'm sorry. I'm like a big Jonathan Larson Rent musical head, so I can't believe that it took me a while to get that. Anyway, so but yeah, Dave, and then Dave, he's already been paid by Netflix. So what you gonna do? You're gonna take it down? So what? He don't really care.
He don't care.
And Netflix is like, hold on now, we trying to recoup our money right now. I'm gonna need y'all to chill out. So Netflix, of course, is standing behind them on it, or whatever the case may be. But fake offense and fake outrage, which is or taking offense, is kind of what a lot of it was about as well. And like I said, a lot of people that were offended, I believe, have not even watched the special. Because if you watched the special, you could really navigate and see what he was trying to say. Like that turf joint, oh my God. It was like, Caitlyn Jenner has been doing this for 1 year and she's Woman of the Year. Like, what does that say about all the rest of you? Like,
I'm so glad he said it. I'm so glad he said it because when it came out that he was Woman of the Year, I was like, yo, what is happening? What? Life? How is that even possible? How? You're not even a woman. You're not even actually a woman. What are we talking about?
Yeah, and the J.K. Rowling joined the gender being a fact, and and even as we say all this stuff, understand we have compassion for people's life process and their life journey and the things that they have to go through, and we have that because we are minorities ourselves. Me and Corey, of course, being a minority, of course, Bree and Trish being a double minority. So we get it. It's easy for us to put ourselves in your shoes. It's very easy for us to do that. We get it. So it's not we're not sitting here trying to necessarily ride on these communities, but we have to look at what's going on and say things don't always seem just or fair, which kind of leads us to our next topic with Jon Gruden of the Raiders.
I'm standing with John.
Coach Gruden, like when he said what he said about De'Maurice Smith,
come at me,
it was
Trish.
it was like, okay, whatever, whatever. But when he came and he called, what's his name, the F word, the homophobic F word, that's when all of a sudden he had to resign. You know what I mean? Like, it was another prime example of how just being racist isn't enough. He had to be racist, homophobic, misogynistic, all of that before they were really calling for his job, in my opinion. But Corey, you mentioned you were kind of riding with John, and I know you kind of troping a little bit, but you go ahead and speak to that a little bit.
Yeah. So, all right, let me say this. I didn't see the whole entire email, but from what I've heard, it's just he said a black dude had big lips. And then I didn't know that he used the F word against one of the homosexual guys.
No. He actually used it against somebody that wasn't homosexual. He used it against Roger Goodell.
Oh, okay. Got you. All right. And then what's the other thing he said that was misogynistic?
I think in this email, they were sending off emails of Washington. There's this big thing around the Washington football team's cheerleaders. And them being sent with pictures with no shirts on, with no tops.
Bikini tops were not on.
Was it bikini tops or was it no tops?
I read that there was only bikini bottoms on.
Okay, yeah, so no tops.
No tops.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. So when it comes to the emails things or things that are not meant for everybody, but are meant for maybe a group chat or maybe only certain eyes or maybe for the intended audience that it's meant for, I have a little bit more sympathy for that because there are things that we say in our group chat that aren't for other people. And if these messages get out, who knows how people are going to feel about us? There are things that I say to only my pastor friends who I'm in the pastor's group chat with, right? Along with emails and things like that. And it's not necessarily anything that is like ungodly as far as talking about in a ministry sense. It's not that it's ungodly, but it's also making it aware. Listen, I know everybody doesn't know me like this, so I can't talk like this to everybody, right? Because either whether it's because of different cultures or different races, or people don't know you as the person, so they might judge you because you said this one thing, but they don't know your whole life, right? So there are things that are in group text and emails and chats and things like that are only meant for that audience. So that's why I'm not mad at him for that, because that wasn't meant for the world. And I don't think Jon Gruden is racist. I don't think that he's, somebody that's homophobic. I don't think he's anything like that. And I'm saying that based off things that I've said in emails. I know I'm not a racist. I'm not whatever, right? So it's just stuff you say, maybe locker room talk, as they call it. or they call it this is how I talk around my friends. Like I talk different around my white friends than I talk around my black friends. But you know what I'm saying? But I'm not two different people. Like it's I'm just knowing I know what I can say in front of people and what I can't say in front of people, right? So I feel like I am more quote unquote real with my black audience friends, is because they know my resume. They know when it comes down to it, yo, Corey's a good person, man of God, boom, boom, boom. But I joke around, I play. I use language that may not be as acceptable in front of some other people. And not like cussing anything like that. But like I just talk different, right? So this is why I'm not mad at him for the stuff that for the things that he did, because it wasn't intended for us to see in the first place.
That's what it is. That's what it is. I'm gonna let Trish, what you got? You're frowning up your whole. Yeah, go ahead.
I mean,
come at me, Trish.
Well, I've never heard of this man until recently, until like a day ago or 2 days ago. So I don't, whatever. But what I did read was that there was a history of this type of talk, like racist talk. It wasn't just an email. This is like a pattern, right? And so to me, if I see a pattern of you, talking, in a way that is, racist or whatever, like offensive in general, right? Like people can talk offensively, and it's like, all right. I mean, I just don't bang with you because you're just mad, brolic. You're crass. I don't bang with people like that, right? It could be that, or it's like, yo, like you're really actually out of pocket. You're out of line. The comments and what this is just based on what I've read. I don't know if he's guilty or not. If he is guilty of what is being said about him, then I'm like, nah, like that's not excusable to me. If you have a history of being racist and talking about the players on your team, or talking about, the people in your field, like that's a problem. That is problematic. Especially you as an owner. Is he an owner? Is he the owner or the coach? The coach. The coach of the like. I'm looking up to you as a leader. You know what I'm saying? And if you're a leader, and this is the type of example that you're setting, and this is the type of like leadership that you're, giving, then that's problematic. So I ain't feeling it.
Before we go to Bree, let me ask you, what about, is there a statutes of limitations on cancel culture? For instance, the email that came out about DeMaurice Smith was in 2011.
Okay.
Now, other emails came out, I believe, around the 2014 period about other things, but the particular one that seemed to be more racial was in 2011. Is there a statute of limitations on this stuff?
I think so. Now that I didn't know it was that long ago. But I do think that there should be a statute of limitation when it comes to this type of stuff, because a lot of people, I've seen people cancel people because of a tweet back in 2007. You'd be like, wait a minute,
Right.
now. I was a whole different person. Like that person was a kid or a teenager when they said whatever they said. Like Doja Cat got canceled for something she said when she was like a teenager or something. And so I think that's foolish, you know what I mean? Because people change. People change over a period of 12 months, right? So it's like, if this happened multiple years ago, then we got to kind of see like, okay, well, what is the current pattern? What are they doing now? How are they acting as far as this stuff is concerned today? I think you got to consider that.
Bree, what you got to say about Mr. Gruden, Coach Gruden? Chucky.
Well, right. I think for me, the biggest thing was, he wrote the email, but, the intended audience, how was he that comfortable speaking in those terms? And, were they comfortable with all of that? And like, it's just now coming out now. But, that was the biggest thing for me. Like culturally, what's the morale like? Especially with the NFL being, comprised of a lot of African American players. When you have somebody in his position that can make personnel decisions, and if this is really the way that he thinks, if this is the way that his peers thinks, then that's the bigger issue. And that's when I kind of, went back and I started thinking, like, what kind of impact did, that have on the whole Khalil Mack situation when Marquette King was let go? Because it didn't have anything to do with his athleticism or himself as a player. Jon Gruden got rid of him because he didn't like his personality. So, it's just kind of like
one of those bit of a contract. Wasn't there a contract issue with that as well? Not wanting to pay him his money.
I think so too. But it's just like,
but still,
that
you
got
rid of a top 3 a defensive end linebacker in the league.
But he wanted to keep AD. But he wanted to keep Antonio Brown.
Antonio Brown, yeah.
And he's wild.
Yeah, and he did seem to show a little bit of loyalty to Antonio Brown. He did. And so this is what I see to that. Go ahead, Bree. Were you finishing up? Go ahead. My bad.
No, I'm just saying that was just something I was thinking about with it.
So this is what I see to that. See, Goss, and you actually just brought that up, and I'll go back to the question I kind of proposed to Trish: is there a statute of limitations on this cancel culture stuff? What Kevin Spacey did to Antonio Rapp, dead wrong. It was 20 years ago, though. Do we still have cause and effect? Do you still have consequences for your actions? Yes. Does that mean that in 20 years a person can change? Yes, maybe, maybe not. What are we thinking? I am at a weird spot where I feel like a lot of white people have not really been forced or confronted with their belief systems concerning African Americans until 2014, 2015, 2016. You know what I mean? Like George Floyd, Trayvon Martin, Mike Brown, yada, yada, yada. Now they've been confronted. And so I believe, and I think it's gone, we've seen this across the board. A lot of eyes are being opened, right? A lot of majority culture eyes are being open to what's going on and how the Black community has been treated, and so they are becoming allies. You know what I mean? I think we all can attest when we look at the Black Lives Matter rallies that happen across the country. A lot of times, especially even early on, it was a heavy white mix, more so than we had seen before. More so than we've seen before, and so. With some of those statements being in 2011, he also had some statements being in 2014, I believe, when Colin Kaepernick first took a knee. Some of those statements were in the email too. Now check this out. He was on ESPN during that time. So he could have talked about it all he wanted to, and he said nothing about it. But them fingers, though, in them emails, so he knew he was talking to. He was talking to the good old boys, Bruce Allen, and them other cats that are no longer in the Washington football team's front office. And but again, 2011, 2014, not dismissing the behavior. I believe very much so that there are racial joints, whatever. I also believe when you work that closely to Black people after 2016, 2018, 2020, you start maybe getting your eyes open a little bit more and understand what's going on and maybe where I was wrong and I didn't realize I was doing this, and then you can turn and become an ally. You know what I mean? So I just think people do change. I know my thoughts on the LGBT community were not the same that they are now that they were 10 years ago.
Me too.
By any means. The way that I try to go out of my way for some women's issues was something I just picked up. I felt God started putting that on my heart like 5 years ago. So I wasn't going out of my way like that a decade ago.
Yeah.
I won't. Even if I might have saw it and recognized it a little bit, I won't trying to no, hold on. We need to put this in place. We need to do this. I won't end that until God put that on my heart. I felt 5 years ago when he said, yo, look, I need you to really dive into some of these issues and really, sit and listen more, into women's spaces and hear what they deal with and what they're, that was all new for me. Yeah. So my point is, can cancel culture stunt growth?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. I mean,
and at the same time, does that not mean that cats still have to be accountable for their actions that even maybe it might have happened a decade ago?
I think they still need to be accountable. I think, I mean, whatever is done in the dark is going to come to the light eventually anyway. And so it's like, you either gotta, become accountable or take responsibility for your actions now or later. Like, it's really, up to you. But I think depending on the way people respond to it is how you can tell where they are. You know what I mean? Like, I think if you own it and you say, yeah, I messed up, like that was me back then. I think the culture will be more acceptable. You know what I mean? But if you just like silent on it or you acting like, oh, I don't care. Okay. All right, cool. Like the culture is going to do what they will, cancel you or, whatever. So, yeah.
I personally don't think anybody is really, really canceled unless you do like a sexual crime, unless you're like R. Kelly or you're like the Kevin Spacey thing or like that. But if you can do anything else, but just don't be a sexual predator or anything like that. And you have the ability to come back. You know what I'm saying? Because we've canceled, like Dave Chappelle's been canceled for. We've canceled Chris Brown. But if you keep doing what you're good at and you keep producing, then you'll be okay.
Yeah, there's definitely a such thing as being uncancelable. Kanye is not. You can't cancel Kanye. You know what I mean?
Kanye,
we
Dave
tried.
Chappelle, you can't cancel those guys.
Yeah, there's certain cats that just, and honestly, it comes down to ownership, right? Like once I own this, that, and the third, you can no longer really cancel me. So it's interesting. I kind of feel Charlamagne the God. I like to. It's more of an accountability culture thing, but I do want to make sure that we are lending a certain level of empathy and grace to make sure allow people to grow. But yeah, it's interesting because consequences are still there for our actions.
Absolutely.
But even legally, there are statutes and limitations.
That's true. Yeah. Look at Bill Cosby.
Yeah. Look at Bill Cosby.
True. Yeah. Which is wild.
Which is yeah. But then there was a legal loophole there. But then again, this goes back to our R. Kelly conversation just a little bit. I still can't. The art that Bill Cosby put out, not one of us can't sit here and say how it changed and affected their life. We could probably go in for the next 10 minutes easy on how Cosby Show or A Different World or whatever literally changed our lives.
Absolutely. No denying that at all. And he will have respect on that front. But on the others. And listen, I lived in Philly for a number of years. Okay. He worked at Temple for a number of years. Okay. People talk. It's stories that ain't even out there about that man.
Wow.
He's guilty. I don't care what nobody says. He's guilty. But hey.
I hear you. Our last topic of the night actually, I guess it kind of fluxes off of cancel culture, but it of course has that mixture of cancel culture plus COVID. And that's talking about Kyrie Irving. So only certain cities, LA, San Francisco, New York City, are to the point where they're like, look, if you're not vaccinated, you can't do such and such and such. I think there might be one more city I'm missing. But of course, Kyrie Irving plays for the Nets. And their home is in Brooklyn, in New York City. And Kyrie has made a stance pretty much that he is not going to take the vaccine. Some of the talk has been he's not going to do it because he wants to be a voice for the voiceless, those that are being mandated to take the vaccine that don't want to. So some of that. Now it's also he did do a live, I want to say the other day, in which he came out and said, it's just, look, I don't want to put this in my body. And he did say that. And he's like, you got to understand, I came here ready to play. I trained, I did whatever, I came here ready to play. This stipulation is a stipulation that's just, my city is one of few cities that has this. But anyway, I just want to see as a whole, what are we thinking concerning this Kyrie Irving situation? Kyrie has always been a cat that
a headache,
has a bit of a headache.
Yep.
Has ideas like the world is flat and different things of that nature. And yeah, he's just, he's kind of been a headache ever since. But Brina, you kind of wanted to talk in Mr. Irving here. What you think about K?
I think this is a bunch of foolishness. I just feel like he's a self-proclaimed activist, and I'm trying to figure out why. Because it's like, okay, he's exercising his right to refuse the vaccine, but it's in the middle of a pandemic. Like, this is a global health crisis. His decision doesn't affect just him. Like, he can affect his teammates, the staff, their families, just by association. So it's a lot. He's taking this stand, but he's worth millions. So it's like it's gonna impact him if he gives up his career, if he sits. I think he's stubborn enough to retire. But it's like, I just think in the grand scheme of things, like, you have a person who's making $10 an hour and they have to make a decision like, okay, do I keep this job and take the vaccine or not? It's not the same thing. And so, I mean, it's like you're standing up and trying to give a voice to those who don't have a voice. I mean, weeks ago, he had an opportunity, in press conferences, and he just told us all we need to respect his privacy and no comment. Like, that was what he wanted to say. So I don't know. Trying to follow him, it's always hard. I can't keep up with him or his thoughts. This is crazy.
Yeah,
I feel like, just take it.
Yeah. Just take it.
That's just how I feel. Honestly, because just based on the data, like, we've all been vaccinated. We're still here. So it's like a lot of the research that people are saying that they've done as reasons why they shouldn't. At this point, it's like, I get it, but do you value your life? Do you value the lives of others? Like, I didn't want to take it at first either, but it's like, I want to go outside. So yeah, I think it is a fight, but I don't think it is the cause that he's grandstanding this to be. Not on this level.
Now, I'm not even gonna sit up here and tell you.
Goss, my bad. I got to do this. Trish.
Yep.
I know Goss wanted to get in there, but I needed to throw that to you.
Can y'all hear me?
We can hear you.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, I just want to make sure, because it's like glitching a little bit over here. So I saw a tweet. Pastor 83 said, if Kyrie want to be a check to the checklist, he could go ahead and be a check to the checklist. I was confused.
Yeah, it took me a second. Yeah, he could be a check to the checklist. He could definitely do that.
Right. I didn't get it. I didn't understand, because I didn't really know what he was talking about until, y'all had brought this thing up. So yeah, I think that it's interesting that he would not want to given his job and where he's playing specifically, with New York being one of the biggest, had the most deaths and the most COVID infections. Like, I just, I don't know. I understand not wanting to take it because I didn't want to take it for a long time. And I get it. I know people who have been, affected by it, who have died from the vaccine. Well, I would say they died after taking it. Don't know like how related the vaccine and their death was, but I get it, but at the same time, I think you have to, for me, it just came down to the numbers, like is this going to or not? And so I think it just comes down to that. I don't know. I think it could seem selfish, in the way that he's going about it. That's just, I don't understand that.
Yep.
The person
the only reason why I say that is no, I was just going to say the only reason why I say that it seems selfish is just because of how politicized this whole thing has been. And because of all the political stuff, the medical information that we needed to receive is just kind of just been drowned out. And so now people don't know what to believe and they don't know who to listen to. And then when you have a huge figure like Kyrie Irving, take this kind of stand, now anybody who's kind of just been in a gray area, like should I not, it may give them pause to say maybe I shouldn't because he isn't. And the thing is, the people who are supporting his stance have been vaccinated, but they are preaching don't take the vaccine. Like so it's just kind
Ted Cruz's of the world.
Yep. And Donald Trump Jr. I saw his tweet in support of Kyrie Irving, but I'm like, but you've been fully vaccinated, so why are you encouraging this stance? So that's why I'm just saying it's just highly political, and I would hate for his because he could have a pure heart in doing this. I just don't want it to be taken. I don't want him to be taken advantage of for the wrong political reasons. That's why it just seems so crazy.
Trish, your friend that did, or the person that knew a person who, you said it was roughly about almost 24 hours after taking. Is that what I understood?
Yes. Yes, it was the next day. And it was the same situation. His job was threatening him, if you don't take this, then you're gonna lose your job. So he waited. He was like, all right, I guess I gotta just do it, and he did it and he died. So I that blows my mind. Like, it still blows my mind, but it could have been some underlying condition. I really don't know. I know that the vaccine can do that. It can like exacerbate something that's already there and like kind of like, bring it up to the surface. That's happened to multiple people. I don't know. It's tough.
Yeah, I think we were talking about Sivion, who
yes,
is going through something right now with that, where he had a bad reaction of sorts to the vaccine, and now he's kind of hanging on for his life. So definitely prayers that way as well. My bad, Goss. I know I cut you off, but I wanted, because I knew that Trish had that piece of information, so I wanted her to go next. But go ahead.
No, it's all good. Yeah, so I mean, I'm not vaccinated either, and I'm not on some I need to get it, hurry up and get it type stuff either. If they mandate it, then I probably get it. But if they don't mandate it, I'm not in no rush to get it. I already had COVID once. They say it's not likely that you'll get it again. I still wear masks and things like that. So, and I really don't get sick like that, except like maybe once a year or something like that. So I'm not pressed to get it, but I'm not against it either. If people want to get it, I'm for them getting it. I don't think Kyrie should be held out or should be losing all this money, $380,000 a game that he's going to lose from not taking the vaccine. I mean, I think our country is founded on freedom of choice and freedom of doing these things. But, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people say we don't have freedom of consequence when we don't do something. So I get that too as well. But like, I like the point that Bree made. Like, we're not all millionaires like Kyrie. He can afford to do it. Some of us can't afford to do it. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta take that into account as well. But then you got Kyrie. He's always been a headache on every team that he is. With Boston, Cleveland, and now Brooklyn. So he's always been about himself. He's always been about, not his teammates. And you are affecting your chances of your teammates getting a title now because you're not going to play. So I think that may supersede my decision. I'd probably take it because I'd understand I'm affecting my team more so than anything else. So it's unfortunate that he's taking this route, but at the same time, I respect it as well too because he's putting his money where his mouth is.
Definitely. Yeah, I'm kind of torn on the Kyrie thing. Mainly probably because of the experience that Trish had. I'm gonna be honest with you. I am very glad that I did not know about the friend of yours, Trish, before I decided to get the vaccine, because that would have been another obstacle that stopped me from possibly maybe getting it. I, as well, like we've all kind of said, wasn't too anxious to go out and get it. None of us were probably none of us were standing in lines, right? You know what I mean?
I was not.
None of us really were.
Yeah.
But at different points, we all kind of did, except for Goss, who has had COVID as well, and got those antibodies. If it wasn't Kyrie, I think I might be a little bit more sympathetic on this. Just because Kyrie just be off. His mind just be like Goss said, he's just can be a headache sometimes with his thought processes and him being a free thinker of sorts. At the same time, I have empathy for Kyrie as well, as someone who didn't expect maybe that he'd have to do this, and that now he has to do this if he wants to play. At the same time, I'm like, Bree is crazy because now all these people are politicizing this situation and making it out to be a whole nother thing when a lot of times they're already vaccinated. Like, we know that every political figure, everybody, like every senator, every governor, we know that they're vaccinated.
Yeah.
And so for them to come out and make it a political situation, it's just
That's weird.
Wild in itself. It's very weird, right? It's very weird. So yeah, those are my things. Ultimately, I think he is going to end up getting the vaccine, and that will be that. But yeah, this Kyrie Irving can't be that spokesperson. Sorry, he just can't be. He just can't be. LeBron maybe might have. You don't think he's going to get it?
Nah, I think he's going to retire.
I think some people have been saying
I think so too.
Maybe he wants to retire. He did come out and say yesterday that he did not want to retire. Not that, we believe him 100%. I'm just saying he did come out yesterday and say, no, I do not want to retire. We'll try to see what can be done.
He's going to retire. Then when everything's died down, he'll come back. He's still young enough to do that.
He is still young enough to do it. Well, that is that. Anybody else got anything on Kyrie? Nope. Well, in that case, y'all, it's been fun. Like I said, this is kind of handicap tastemakers, as we all have kind of been either tired or
not me,
sick or whatever, or recovering, except for Goss, of course.
Feeling good, looking good.
So again, I do apologize about all the sniffling and stuff like on the microphone. But definitely thank you guys so much for tuning in to another Tastemakers. Make sure to like and subscribe. We are officially out of here. That's your girl Trish, light skin Corey down there, Serena right below. Again, my name is Cole. Thank you guys so much for tuning in.